come for a walk in these ruins, you might be looking at history.
So how important was it for Ukraine to get this airport back?
It's like whole airport like symbol. It's a pretty legendary place, I think.
Young Sergei Tsereyev signed up 2 hours after the Russian invasion a year ago, is still shocked at the shattered world around him. Souvenir hunting from what Russians left behind, a helmet maybe abandoned in panic or plucked from a body.
It's like the Second World War.
The equipment was
you
terrible.
You can take with you if you want.
No, that's okay. Thank you, though. Wow.
Well, I take it.
Yeah. So as we walk through here, when you look out here, what are you looking at here? Where is
it's anti-tanks mines, Russians anti-tanks mines.
So those all had to be detonated and found?
Yeah, it's a process that will take a few years, I think.
A few years. There's one there, there's one right back
right
there.
Behind.
And those are just the ones you can plainly see?
Yeah.
Should Ukraine ultimately win this war, what happened here may represent the turning point.
Russians came here and just
Russia took the Chernobyvka airport in the early days of the war, wanted it as a base. Ukraine wasn't having that. And for months, bombed this airport again and again, sacrificing its own planes. The surrounding trenches where Russians hid their weapons and slept became places where they died. Wave after wave kept arriving. On these buses, their burned out shells still sitting at the airport's demolished entrance.
What's the month there?
May.
May of 2020.
Yeah.
Apparently, all soldiers sent here with Russian propaganda telling them they won't be left behind. Only they were left behind. By November, Ukraine managed to rout the Russians from this critical and broken place, shoving them back across the Dnipro River. Kherson city erupted in joy. For a place held for months under Russian occupation, what a relief. What a short-lived relief. Look at it now, desolate, shelled daily by an angry enemy that wants this place back. Firing from across the river persistently, a front line that's just a few hundred meters away. These people were hit with a Russian Grad missile as they were waiting simply at a bus stop. Is it any wonder those left behind in Kherson are sometimes scared, sometimes agitated? Desperate for relief, they push Kherson's mayor.
А чому ми зустрілись тільки сьогодні? У нас проблеми тільки сьогодні? Вчора? Ні? Пробачте. У нас були, кожен день вони були.
A community looking for generators, for aid, for something.
Знаючи проблематику її.
Halina Luhova can't offer much except that she's here and trying.
Усі підприємства стоять. Податки в місто.
All businesses stopped. We don't have enough tax income. People left, she implores. What a burden to be mayor here. This was her house, set ablaze by Russian collaborators a few months ago.
Yes, it was terrible. So my friends, my colleagues allow me to sleep in their own flats, in their houses, so that to be safe also, I change all the time this place.
It's brave to be your friend.
Yes, that's right. It's dangerous as well.
Dangerous to be your friend, okay.
Yes.
Personally targeted and, like everyone else here, feeling generally hunted by the persistent Russian shelling.
What do you think the Russian strategy is with all the shelling? What are they trying to do to the city?
I think they don't have any strategy, but it's their revenge.
It was only after shoving the Russians out in November that some of the cruelties they inflicted here were really understood.
Glory to the Russia.
The evidence is there if you look, and look at this. the basement of a Kherson police station. What a Ukrainian police officer tells us was part of a series of Russian torture chambers.
As you look at these rooms, what have you been able to figure out what sort of torture they inflicted?
Безпосередньо на цій решітці висіла удавка.
He talks of people taped to chairs strung up from that grate, batons used to beat them.
Методи катування побиття.
And the Russian rage lingers in this filthy, freezing basement.
So these were books about Ukrainian history. Oh, they use it for target practice.
Скоріше за все, використовували їх як мішені, а книжки про визвольну боротьбу початку ХХ століття українського народу.
Same with the diary. Very angry.
Вони ще не знають, які ми тепер злі через це.
There's more than enough rage to go around in war. Amongst all the scattered, looted material down here, some grotesque posters.
Like, are these Russian soldiers or Ukrainian?
Росіяни.
It's a propaganda flyer encouraging Russians to give up or be brutalized. Maybe something found on those Ukrainians dragged in here during the Russian occupation. And CBC has corroborated with some of those held by the Russians that the violence talked about here was real.
So as miserable as these conditions clearly are here in the bottom of a police station in Kherson, this particular room doesn't seem to be a place where they were torturing people. In fact, this is possibly where those Russian soldiers were staying. A couple reasons why. Books here are in Russian. The cans of food, this is all Russian. The fact that there are sleeping mats at all, they wouldn't have left something comfortable for the Ukrainians. And also, even the way they've written their names here with the star above sort of indicates that these were likely Russians who were doing the torturing of the people just a few doors down.
And a few blocks away, behind strong protective walls, another type of tortured soul. Hanna Skripka of the Kherson Regional Art Museum. The occupying Russians cleaned it out.
What does the museum feel like without the art?
Просто сльози стояли в очах, що ось воно спливає наче з рук і все, і ніколи як вода просто протікає крізь пальці.
The theft, slow and methodical.
And they came and they took everything out of storage.
Work centuries old from all over the world had been catalogued here. They're all now gone.
В коридорі я вам потім покажу так зване кладовище рам.
This hallway she now calls the cemetery of the frames. When the Russians ran out of space in their trucks, they just delicately cut some works out of the frames. She knows this because she was forced to work here alongside the Russians during the occupation.
Провітрювати приміщення, включати і виключати світло, тому що всім роботам, які тут знаходяться, потрібно, скажімо, оброблення їх.
Determined to cherish the works, even as she was helpless to stop the theft. And here they are, the Kherson paintings unloaded into a museum in Crimea, all under Russian hands now. Culture erased in Ukraine. And yet she doesn't abandon this place, finds work to do, hopes the treasures will one day come home. How long will they wait? How long will the punished Kherson sit and be pummeled? Liberated, yes. Free and safe? Not at all.